been properly moved and second that we approve the minutes of June 16, 2014.
Can I say something? One of the things that I just want to say about the minutes is that there's a slightly different notation on them that's related to our recording, and that kind of tripped me out for a second, Mr. Moore, but I understand what it is now, and I think that's a reasonable, that's helpful now.
Thank you.
So you did receive the minutes for June 16th.
Oh, yes.
All of us, and we've had an opportunity to go over. Now, we've been properly moved and seconded. We've had our discussion. Can we have a vote for what we're doing for the minutes for June 16th?
Well,
Yes? Have another question?
Yeah, just, can we be more specific about exactly what, Mr. Moore, wrote? I read them a while ago, and I need to be reminded of what.
You know, there's the way that they're laid out this time is different. You know, under normal circumstances, we have, there's like sort of a summary, I mean, this was the resolution, or this is what was discussed, or these people had a discussion, and then there's a little box off to the side. You know, there's a little box off to the side that sort of says what the action is.
Yeah.
But there's red number notation, number and letter notations that are on it that are tied to our reference marks for the audio.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you are trying to reconcile the two, it makes it easy for you to reconcile the two. So that's what because we have, our minutes comes two ways. We can, if somebody submits a public record request, they can request the audio, the digital audio, or the written summary. And the way that he set this up, the way it came this time was new, is different than the way he submitted it to us.
It's more abbreviated.
It's more abbreviated, yes, it is more abbreviated, but it also makes a more direct reference to the audio,
Okay.
which hadn't happened before.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions? If none, let us move on to the vote.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mr. Branch?
Abstain.
Mr. Silvera?
Yes.
Mr. Fambro?
I'm abstaining.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Sinar?
Yes.
Dr. Rice?
Yes.
That's 5 yeses and 2 abstentions.
Thank you. Motion passes. Communications?
They're done.
Silent. Okay, the executive committee report. The three of us are the executive committee, and we kind of have it in PowerPoint for you. I will begin by saying that on May the 28th, 2014, this executive committee held our first meeting where we were in charge. And today is August the 18th, and it has been 83 days. So what has happened in 83 days? Let's see if I can share that with you. And my comments will be 5 minutes, so time me, please. Committees. The first thing we did was establish committees to do the work of the East Cleveland Public Library Trustee Board. Second, we firmly established Ms. Sheba Marcus Bay as the leader of the East Cleveland Public Library. Third, we try to enforce the do's and don'ts by where board members are to provide governance for the library and not day-to-day activities. Additionally, we review the process of Board of Trustee professional development and travel procedures. You're going to hear a lot more about that soon. Also, the Director and Fiscal Officer, we made sure that they are on each month's program, each month's meeting. That's so that we can hear what's going on from those individual departments, so they are on the agenda. We tried to settle the old business, that settled the 1 3/4 year-long ongoing concern of Rose Ford and Asia Darton. Still got a little bit more work to do, but we tried to get that done. We also picked up the library property that was down at Attorney Connect's office for a year and a half. She was getting ready to throw it away. So library property belongs here. Finance Committee. We established procedures and processes to ensure the efficient operations of the Finance Committee. We settled the grievance of our fiscal officer. I want to take a few moments to say thank you to Mr. Gerald Severe. He has provided a lot of leadership with the Finance Committee. Not only has he given a lot of leadership, I've learned a lot about nonprofit organizations and those kinds of things that are expected from the Finance Committee. So we certainly want to make sure that we thank him for his leadership there. As far as new employees, we have 5 new staff members, and the process has been monitored for postings, ensure fair and equitable interviews, and enforce established personnel policies. Let me just say thank you to Ms. Leontine Sinor, who is our Vice President. She provided a lot of leadership to make sure that everything was followed and that we followed the personnel manual, also the Ohio Revised Code. She has really been on top of all of those processes and procedures, so we are really appreciative for that as well. As you see the minutes of the meeting, we discussed that. We've had minutes that are needed to be approved. We're working on processes for that. Also, the policies and procedures manual of the trustee board, we're looking at doing a lot of work on that at a major retreat that is currently being planned for late November. We certainly want to thank Tara Turner for her excellent leadership and making sure that, number one, that we are going to be able to have a retreat. She's also the chairperson of the Strategic Planning Committee, so we thank her for her leadership for those activities, the minutes and preparing for the retreat, and also beginning to take a look at the direction she's going to help us to get to with the policies and procedures manual. So thank you for your time. Staff grievances. We've established processes and procedures for staff grievances, and we're trying to make sure that those are followed. Also, we want to work to put both the staff and community members on some of the committees for the trustee board. They tell me that used to happen, that the community was integrally involved with the various committees for the East Cleveland Public Library. You're going to hear far more about that later. Problems. We work quietly and efficiently to solve the problems within the purview of the trustee board for the executive committee. We maintain a consistent, clear, concise, correct communication system that's trustworthy. We want to be trusted when we put out information, not only to ourselves, but also to the community as well. And land bank. Let me tell you, I know a lot of that land bank is on everybody's mind. I attended the meeting of the East Cleveland Neighborhood Advisory Committee meeting at City Hall on Tuesday, August the 12th, 2014. There are 4 parcels on Deborah Ann Lane that are in the land bank. These properties require the attention of the full trustee board and the community. I have the parcel numbers there, but there's also another lot. You'll hear more about that later. Solidarity. The executive board of the East Cleveland Board of Trustees, we work to solidify the Board of Trustees, all 7 members. We want us to work as a team because we're not here for each other individually. We're here as a team. We want to do a good job for the citizens of East Cleveland, and we can do that as a team. I mentioned the names of those individuals who are on the executive board, but let me just share with you. Mr. Branch just graduated from Cleveland State University, cum laude. That's a tremendous accomplishment. But not only that, he's providing a lot of leadership for the Library Services Committee, and we're very appreciative for his leadership and direction there. Let me share, Mr. Fambro has a lot of knowledge. We know that. he also has a love for this library that comes through with everything that he does and says. He has a lot of technical knowledge and expertise as well. So we want to tap into all of that. And we know the dean of the political arena is Mr. Charles E. Bibb. With all of this talent that we have, the 7 of us should be able to move this library where it needs to go. Now, question. How many days has this executive board been in service to the East Cleveland Public Library?
83 days.
83 days. All right, so if you were in my class, you'd have an A coming. One more question.
Okay.
What are we asking the trustees and the community to do for us? I kind of said that, to be what?
Cohesive.
To be cohesive and to be vigilant. We need you to watch out for it as well. Because if someone had called me regarding the property over at Devereaux Lane, that property would have just been eased on out of here. So therefore, it takes all of us, doesn't it?
Yes.
It takes all of us to make a village to get where we need to go. Our next person, I don't know how is my time? Anybody timing me?
I did. Your time is really up.
Okay, my time is up. Leontine Sinor is next. Thank you very much for listening. We certainly appreciate it.
Good afternoon and thank you all. From a Vice President's standpoint, what I find essential in all business aspects is communication is key. In order to provide effective governance, our communications are key. They need to be essential. They need to be timely. They need to be relevant, and we need to make sure that everybody understands what they are. When I decided to be a trustee, I shared with both the people that we have oversight of is that we are partners in progress. We're here to actively develop relationships that will advocate for the library's improved reputation. We understand that we have gone through a lot of things, so the goal is to partner together to create progress so that we can change the reputation so that it becomes positive. Improve board relations and library administration relations. We have had too many accounts of sitting in this forum and others where the information and the communications are poor. So what we're trying to do is just improve board relations and the relationship that we have with the administration so that we can move the library forward. And how do we do that? In part through our communications and the way we conduct meetings, and as trustees, as an advocate, we can join and actively participate in library-related organizations at local and national levels. What we have up there is the American Library Association, United for Libraries, and the Ohio Library Council. Our present and future opportunities, we can partner with and collaborate with local and state agencies to provide services to enrich the community and residents. Our library, that you will hear later from the director, we participate in the YOU program this year. I also am a contractor to the YOU, and we were able to employ some East Cleveland youth this summer here, and we can continue to do that. Board members utilizing their networks to bring and return programming to the library. I'm an advocate for jazz, and I am currently in a position to sit on the board for the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra, and one of my missions is to bring the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra back to the library. When I talked to the current president, they mentioned that they have been in the library before, so some of those particular activities and other activities that I heard the library was able to participate in, we want to make sure that we use our networks and our resources to reach out and say, hey, you know what, the East Cleveland Public Library is a viable place for you to do your programming. Committee impact. We have to have our committee meetings. Why? Because we're tasked with making decisions, providing reports, doing reviews, doing problem solving, and having discussions. It is the goal of this executive committee to conduct the necessary business in the appropriate committees, thereby producing responsible and practical resolutions, providing appropriate recommendations, and discussing matters for consideration that impact the library. And what will this bring forth to us? Effective board meetings. It will allow us to invite community involvement, and it will show transparency and accountability on both our parts and the administration's part. How do we do this? Through shared responsibility. Excellence in everything should be our minimum expectation. The board makes decisions that affect the livelihood of people working in the library and the patrons alike, and our conduct is representative of our expectations. This East Cleveland Public Library deserves board members who will work for the betterment of the library and its continued existence. And as we saw our homecomer say, teamwork makes the dream work. Success, what does that look like? It's a vision for the library with expanded services. We're going to do that with the help of Mr. Branch leading library services. Leadership who promotes at every level development, professionalism, excellence, and advocacy for library existence. That's the responsibility of both the administration, the fiscal officer, and the director, and then us as library trustees. And finally, it means working together. Next is Ms. Tara Turner, our secretary, and she will enlighten us on how we will implement that.
And so I'm Tara Turner. I am not only the board secretary, which means that I'm responsible for communication both internally and externally for the library, but I'm also on Library Services Committee, and I'm chairing our strategic plan. One of the things as I came to take in all of these new responsibilities that I was conscious of is that we did not have a way of talking about what happens at the library consistently and a way of thinking about what we do. So that becomes a problem across the board. So one of the things that I did was meet with staff, meet with trustees, talk to staff members in the building, trying to get a sense of what's happening so that we could develop a program scheme. A program scheme is an administrative tool that allows an organization a unified way to think about itself and all of its needs and activities. Okay? It gives members of the organizations a consistent way to talk so that we're all speaking the same language, so that we can think about, and also gives us a way to express what we do out into the world. Okay? Once we have decided upon what our framework is going to be, we're going to use that to create a budget, our budget, so that we'll be looking at the ways that we get our money from the state that we use, and also ways to generate money from external sources. Ways to look at our staffing needs, ways to look at the current programs, how to assess them, and to further develop them, and looking at long-range planning for the library. Okay? So I created a first draft, and all of the board members and all of the key staff, the members of or the employees of the board have copies that we are going to review it. Everybody has gotten it via email. Some of you have had it in your hand. And the draft will be considered by everybody and submitted to me by the 8th of September, which is a week before our next regular board meeting. And then we'll be looking to, I'll have a schema for us to vote on the 15th, which is our next regular meeting. So this becomes super duper important because that schema will dictate everything else we do. Because once we all come to an agreement as to this is what we do at the library, these are the library's functions, these are the ways that things are divided, then we can start to look at, okay, for children's programming, we have X number of staff members, that costs X amount of money, we spend this much money on books for children, we can look specifically at how we are servicing that particular piece of our constituency. And so it really will be huge for our planning purposes. So once we ratify this, then I will call the first meetings for strategic planning, and they will be public meetings to start to talk about the way that we look at what currently exists, because we can't plan if we don't assess. So once we have this frame of reference in place, we'll do some assessment of what have we got going on currently, and then we'll start to look at what does that look like for the future. What are everybody's ideas about what they'd like to see for the future, and what will we be doing? and so that we can start to plan for 2015. So, any questions?
All right. Thank you. We just want to say there was 83 days of work, and I'll tell you, 31 of them, we were on vacation for the whole month of July. So in essence, it was 52 days of work. She said I was on vacation, but anyway, I'd like to applaud the administrative team. It takes a lot of work, and it takes working together to be able to make accomplishments. And if you don't share, no one will know what has been done and the work that has been done. So we're very, very thankful to the community. We thank you for your faith and trust in us, and we hope to continue to work to deserve it. Let us move on to our Mr. Bibb.
Couple questions. In
Yes.
your presentation, you meant, touched up on trustee doing day-to-day. Would you elaborate on that a little bit?
Meaning that we're not the director. The director does day-to-day activities. We govern. That's all I can say. You know, there are some people who do things differently. That's the way we do it. You have another question? May I help you with?
Yeah. Madam Secretary, I didn't do the draft.
You know what, it did go to your email. It should be, yeah, and I know that there's a staff that pulls it up. So if you don't get a copy of it, call me and I'll make sure that somebody passes it.
Just give it to Mr. Moore.
Oh, no, he has a, yeah, he's got, it was definitely sent to your email, and it was,
Just send it to Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore, you're gonna put them in my box, right?
Yes, when I did it, all of them.
oh, you know what, if you need another copy, I can give you that, no problem.
Okay,
No problem.
thank you. Any additional
I have a
questions?
question.
Yes.
You touched up on committees.
Yes.
You will be giving stuff to committees.
Mhm.
Do you have the committee structure of what each committee will be doing?
Mr. Bibb, I don't have that right here readily available. I'll see that you get it. I most certainly will.
Put it in my box.
Okay?
I have.
All right, thank you very much. And one of the things that, if a committee has not had an opportunity to meet, then they don't have anything to discuss. So therefore, we want to keep everything moving tonight. If you don't have a report, it's okay. If you don't have a report, you have one for us next time. Now, Director's report?
Madam Chair, thank you.
Yes.
For the months of June, July, and practically August, these are some of the activities we engaged in. For programming outreach, we started a new endeavor to enlist an artist for jewelry making workshops. So we started that in July. We had 30 attendees on our first run. We did it again July 17th, and we also did it on July 28th. So Ms. Phillips worked closely with artist Jessica Casey, who is responsible for the pictures on this wall of Haitians as well. We worked on these projects, and people were really excited to use their hands and make some art. She's going to be doing ongoing jewelry making activities with us, and we're excited about having a jewelry show down the road, and also showing our very talented jewelry makers how they can sell their works on Etsy. So we'll be doing workshops along those lines. As I just mentioned, Ms. Casey is a photographer, so we did a scavenger hunt July the 12th on a Saturday. We had 5 young fellas that participated with this event. They had a great time. So what they did was they took digital cameras and they went around the community and they highlighted items that are positive in East Cleveland. So they're interested in coming through, and hopefully we can get more momentum and do a photography show for our young people. That's one of our goals down the road. We had a field trip to the zoo. Ms. Karen Murray led this endeavor. We had 22 participants. Also, Ms. Owens went as well, if I'm correct. Ms. Owens and some parents traveled to the zoo on July 14th. We had 22 participants, and they had a chance to come down here before they went to the zoo. We had story time. I read to the children, and that was fun. And they had a snack, and then they got on the bus and they got on the road to the zoo. So it was an opportunity for them to go to the petting zoo, see as many animals as they could, and they had a really good time. They also had lunch provided to them by the food bank. Our summer reading program for students, youth ages 5 to 12 was led by Ms. Murray. We had 40 participants, not very good at all, but we'll get better. We had them participate in reading activities, and they registered and they participated by logging in their hours, which they read. And they were regularly rewarded for their participation in order to encourage them to read throughout the summer months. We also supplemented our summer reading activities with Lake Erie Inc. and the Children's Museum of Cleveland for our summer programming activities. This summer, as you heard in the executive committee report, we had a partnership with YOU. I first got involved with YOU back, I would say maybe in 2004, and I was able to leverage that relationship, and we were able to hire some of the students here. We had 5 students who came and worked with us at the library from June 21st until August 1st, and they were employed and they had a chance to earn money, and the finance was supported by YOU. And the whole premise of hiring young people is to get them engaged in workforce development activities, get them actualized to learning what it takes to go to a job every day. On June 21st, we had a ceremony honoring extraordinary African American women trailblazers. So we partnered with Ms. Phyllis Mosley of the Minority Interest Strategies, LTD, to bring this ceremony together honoring 3 extraordinary African American women trailblazers, Judge Jean Merle Papers, Judge Sarah J. Harper, and Sister Juanita Shealy. The program started at 11:30. We opened up down here in the lower auditorium, and then we had a meet and greet, and then we moved up to the Greg Reese Performing Arts Center, and a formal program started at 1 p.m. So with Judge Ronald Adrian serving as the Master of Ceremonies. It was a wonderful pleasure for us to honor these women and serve as the host for this group of women. So it was amazing to see Judge Capers, who is 101?
Yes.
Still with an active and engaged mind, and she reminds us all that we should not be thinking about retiring anytime soon. She just retired, I believe. She was working up into, I think, age 90-something, 93?
That's what she said.
Yeah, so she was fascinating, as well as Judge Sarah J. Harper, who was a judge advocate in the Marine Corps and very, very pioneering in the work she did. She also has her own library in the lower, over there by Longwood, if anybody's familiar with that. And Sister Juanita Shealy, with her stewardship in the Catholic faith and doing community outreach efforts in her role as a sister. So we were really happy to do that event. And I want to thank everybody on our team that helped us provide the forum for us to carry that out. Lake Erie Inc. Partnered with us this summer from June 9th to August 9th, and we had 45 consistent attendees. And this is a MyCom initiative, and this program offers creative writing workshops for youth of all ages. And we positioned a lot of these activities around our lunch program. And the teams had a chance to do writing assignments such as poetry, develop their own comics and short stories. And it was an open forum for them to improve their creative writing skills in a peer setting. We also had the Talk to Me Youth Discussion Series, and that was held from June 21st to August 20th on Wednesdays. And we had 13 consistent attendees, and this discussion group was facilitated by Dr. Mary E. Williams on Wednesday. The workshop sessions allowed the teams to talk to the facilitator about everyday ideals, and it was designed to promote group discussion. Our summer lunch program, our food was supported or supplied to us by the Cleveland Food Bank, and this year we served over 1,439 lunches. So it lets you know how critical a good meal is, and we're really happy that our children decided to come be with us. Our program was pretty much administrated by Courtney Love, so she was really hands-on, and she was very engaged with our young people. So that's a big deal. We served 1 through 18-year-olds. So we want to thank everybody here. Ms. Owens is also is also one of our youth service workers, and she participated. Thank you, Ms. Moore.